Hello. Alright. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Hope you're all okay. It's great to see you guys. I'm hoping everything is fine and everything is going well at home, especially to all our viewers overseas. The lockdown has been pretty hectic, and especially from my point of view, but at least I'm sitting here sober tonight, and I'm here just to express some gratitude towards it, and just to share a little bit of a story and explain to not explain, just kind of share on our feelings and our uniqueness of living sober, and how grateful I am to be sober in this perilous times, due to it could have been way worse back then, if you understand what I'm saying. Yes. Hello to everyone. Hi Vanessa. Hi Auntie Michelle. Hope you guys are well. Thank you for joining, and let's hope you guys can get something out of this. I'm going to just read some things, and I'm just going to speak about myself for a bit, and then I'm going to kick off a meeting and see how it goes with you. Lekker Dean, it's great seeing you again, man. Great seeing you again. Alright, cool. So before I start, I'd just like to open up with a serenity prayer, please, for the guys that are struggling outside, for people that the police have been hitting, and especially for the addicts that are still outside there that don't know any way better. So if you guys can just close your eyes and say the serenity prayer with me, please. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Alright, cool. So my name is Richard Ferreira. I'm 29 years old. Most of you guys that have seen me before know who I am, know my story. But for the ones that don't actually know it, I'm just going to reiterate a bit, and just to get you up to par of things of where I am and where I've come from and what I'm doing now. And I'm just going to discuss things on my way of how I've been taking this lockdown, how we as addicts need to reassure ourselves with sobriety and recovery in this new way of life. And I've been outside of RAEL now for almost 2 months now, and I'm just going to share some of my experiences, and hopefully someone can take out of it, and a message will get brought across. Okay, so I'm Richard Ferreira. I've been an addict for about let's put it this way, I've been using for 12 years of my life. I'm almost reaching 3 years sober now. I was addicted to basically anything and everything. My first drug was dacha, and it escalated all the way up to tick. It's only one drug I haven't touched yet was heroin, and but basically I've done all of it. I've had a beautiful upbringing through my mom and my house, and through my family, and I guess a person would say that through God's grace, my family still stick with me through this night and through these days, and especially through the dark days. Not all of them, mostly just my mother, but I always love them, and I still, it's okay. I understand. I would have so much probably disregarded myself back that time, because as we say, we are good people, but we make bad choices, and my choice at that point of time was not the best. you know, and was also self-gain, selfish, fucked everyone around me, had nothing. But anyway, so grew up in Evander, Secunda, moved down to Cape Town when we were 5 years old, had a beautiful upbringing, got two beautiful brothers, love them to bits, always wanted the best for me, and always wanted them to, always wanted us to shine, you know. We were cuck naughty boys, but yet we still did our thing, and if you actually look at it today, how God's grace is working, all three of us are doing very well. Both two of them are married. I'm the last one left, and you know, we're living a life, and one's got children already. So basically, the pressure was on. The person can say we were late bloomers at the point of time. So as the life continued, we moved down to Cape Town. I started mixing with friends, and I started my career with wrestling. Had a beautiful support system, rugby, sport. Everything was sport in our family through my dad and my brothers, and we loved it. We had a beautiful upbringing as well. Although my dad was a bit of a drinker, but you know, that's his story. It's not mine. But he still did the best. He was still one of the breadwinners of the family, and due to the disease of alcoholism, it went very quickly south from there. And that should have been the key, the eye, you know, the icon is what they call it. Seeing what happens when we rely too much on a substance to control our lives, you know. And I told myself every day that I'll never be like my dad and what he did. And the more I tried to not be like him, I ended up more like him through my active addiction, you know. I tried everything and every way to possibly hide everything from me, but you know, I just couldn't stop myself. With my wrestling, everything, I started going into high school. I was still okay. From primary school, I started drinking when I was about 14, 15. Yeah, nothing really big major. I just loved the feeling of it because my brothers and them all drinking, and I followed that. I started smoking when I was 14. Actually, had my first drink and smoke when I was 10 years old. Just experimenting, never like innocently, you know. And it just progressed from there, you know. And I enjoyed. I would say my first addiction ever was most probably the exercise, you know, because I used to exercise 4 to 5, 6 different sports at a time of the year. You know, we'd be including rugby, wrestling, cricket, you know, mostly athletics, you know, whatever the school could get bored. I was loving how to be fit, and it was also part of the to be cool, you know, the jock of the high school. And as I continued with high school, I started doing very well in wrestling. I started performing, going to South Africa championships and bringing back medals, and I became my first South African champion when I was 15 years old. I started wrestling when I was 4 years old, and so it took me 11 years to become a South African champion. Talk about a late bloomer of its own kind. And I tried my utmost, you know. That's when I started working, and I'll never forget that moment of winning for the first time. It was most probably the highlight of my life, you know. It was actually here in Cape Town where the SS was being held, and I think I chased that high that ever happened, and for everything. And the closest thing that could ever come to me was drugs of that high, you know, without the effort. I became lazy, didn't want to do the effort, but that was the quickest, easiest, softer way for me to get where that feeling of achievement and happiness. Continued with wrestling, and high school I started drinking quite a lot, been caught out by the school a few times, but yet, you know, naughty boys, this and that, and somehow I always got out of it. Still today I'm not sure how, but at God's grace it got out. And luckily enough, I passed high school, and my first drug that I did was obviously alcohol, but then I started smoking weed at the age of 15. I had my first pipe, is what you can call it, in a park, and I just remember that feeling of complete release of everything, you know. Came home that night, nothing happened bad, and I think that's where I just completely latched. I started hanging out with the wrong people at school. Although I was still achieving with sports, the school was still trusting me. I was still senior council. I was still doing well in my wrestling. I had all the prefect and I had all the teachers on my side. I started mingling with the wrong people, and as school continued, I started doing the cocaine and the ecstasy, and just about at the age of 19, I've most probably done all drugs that is known except for heroin to a person. When it happened, I injured myself, my left knee. When I started performing very well in South African wrestling, I toured over to India for the Commonwealth Games. I've toured over to Morocco for the Africa Games, Africa Championship, and I toured to Algeria for the Junior Africa Championship. All three of them I brought medals home. I was literally just one international medal away from the 2012 Olympics. And what happened was my cross ligament tore. And I can't explain to you the feeling that I had at that point of time. You know, it felt like everything I've worked for this whole life of 5, from 4 years old all the way to 19, it felt like it just withered away, you know. Yet again, looking back today at my my actions, it kind of had to happen at some point, you know. I was drinking every weekend, I was smoking weed every week, dodging drug tests, I can say manipulating drug tests, using other people's pee, things like that, you know. I have to be honest in the program, so I'm being honest right now. Always knew the addict that I am. I always knew when they were going to come, how they're going to come, and which tournaments they're going to be at. And I always used to avoid the thing, so no one could actually prove I was using, even though I was coming home sloshed out of my mind. My poor mom, I feel so sorry for her. And yet again, you know, she I made it so impossible to prove that I was using that I became a very master manipulator of it, you know, like a Sheila. I like it. So going on, I started going to trance parties and having a lack of jaw over there, is what they say. The freedom of everything, the drugs was free, the love was free, and it felt like I needed that a bit, you know. I was very, not alone, but I had so much pressure on me on everything else, you know. And at that point of time, the trance parties was the way to go. It was my escape, you know. I started actually living for trance parties. I actually worked my whole month's salary or weekly salary and tips that I ever got. I used to work as a bartender. I would build that all up just to go spend it up, just to spend everything on a weekend, and still go manipulate my mom and make her feel guilty about everything by asking her for more money, and I'll just be robbing her, you know, and go blasting it all, you know, for 48 hours of constant jawling and partying and then just feeling worse than than anything in the world on Monday when I had to go back to work, and then, you know, and I've got nothing left. I wanted that quick release, you know, that instant gratification of most things in my life. So as the trance parties progressed, I started becoming into the harder drugs. I started taking more MDMA, started taking more acid, started taking more shrooms, and all those things that come with the trance party. And I'll just never forget when once I actually met Tik for the first time. Didn't smack it at all the first time, which I should have listened to myself, but yet, you know, but everything was clear, was right, you know. It felt nice, and no one could see I was on it. So that was my scapegoat, you know, at first. So I didn't like it. After a couple of years, I started using it, and don't want to glamorize about it at all, but yet started using it, and I started getting work done. I started doing all these things, but internally I was broken, you know, from all the partying and the drugs and not having God with my side, and having miscommunication with relationships, disappointments of me to my family, disappointments in work, not seeing how my friends are all progressing and I'm just staying at that same spot as a bartender. You know, all those hurt gut feelings that I had inside of me, it was just never going away. And that's what was taking it away was my drug. That was tick that was doing it away. That was doing this for me. That was helping me feel complete. Only temporary, but it was helping me at that point of time. Hello, Mr. Hall. Hope you are well. That's how it fooled me. You know, that's how, because everyone else was using, and for me, it never mattered what you were using. You were using drugs, I was using drugs. I was so judgmental on drugs that my friends would be sniffing cocaine, fighting over it. And meanwhile, I would judge them and laugh at them. And meanwhile, I'm sitting with a gram and a lolly in my car, keeping it all to myself. And I'm the one to judge. I was the one to judge my family members for drinking too much. I was the one to judge everyone that was doing something. But I wasn't taking my skeletons out of my own closet, man. And that's what was killing me. I wasn't cleaning shop. I wasn't cleaning myself from the inside out. I was rather doing it from the outside in. I had a beautiful mask. I had the mask of everything is well in life. When they saw me at a party, I would be smiling. I would be happy. I would make like fuck all is wrong, you know. But meanwhile, deep inside, I was just a sad little boy, wondering how far this is going to be. Trying to exert and do all my ways, trying to fuck the system as much as what I could to get my own ways. And then a little thing happened of life. Been arrested, you know, got caught out finally, losing over 30-40 kgs. It eventually caught up with me. This was years and years of manipulation, years and years of lying, deceit, everything. It finally caught up to me. And, you know, today I sit here and I think to myself like, hey man, you know, I can be sad about it. I can groan about it. But yet, you know, I did not know a better life at that point of time. I grew up where people was trying to show me how to live as my brothers and my family. But, you know, I didn't have a father figure anymore in my house. My brothers weren't going to tell me what they'd been doing. I had resentments against them. I had resentments against anyone and everyone. And, you know, I was living my life. You know, it's my body. I'm going to do what I want to. No one's going to tell me what to do. You know, we all were 23, 24 years old thinking we know best. Our mothers and fathers never knew anything. And that was the attitude that I had. But by the grace of God today, I can sit here and I can admit those facts. You know, I have to say the truth. I have to explain to myself I have to remind myself, how it was and how it is going to go back then. You know, I used to jawl around in Ferreira Street, where I became homeless eventually, for about 2 to 3 weeks. Scuttling around with Congolese mafia, scuttling around doing what I needed to do to survive, you know, dealing, stealing, and it's just how my life turned out, you know. But where it was, I would have done anything for my drug, you know, anything. If you told me how to roll my car, I would have done it. That's how desperate I became. I lived to use, and then I started using to live. That's how my life changed to be. I didn't know anything better than drugs. I couldn't do anything without drugs. If I had to wake up in the morning, I had to smoke a bong. If I wanted to go to the shop, I needed to sniff a line. If I needed to speak to someone or laugh, I needed to use something. Something was always there ahead of me. I couldn't go out if I didn't have a drink. You know, that was my sense of attention in everything. Although I was thinking responsibility of working, earning my own money, that was making me a big man. But yet again, it was doing nothing at all. It wasn't helping me, nothing. Because yet again, I wasn't paying my bills. Whenever I was in the shit, I was running back to mommy. As always. The person that I hated the most for not giving money was the person that I loved the most when she did. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And yet again, like I look at it now, it's fucking insanity. Literally, excuse me for my word. I might swear a few times over here. You know, I'm not a saint. I sit and smoke. And cheers, RG, great mint. It's probably the very few South Africans that have some cigarettes at this point of time. You see, I still got the bad in me. I'm not sitting here saint, you know. I'm not saying, yeah, I'll work a perfect recovery program. I'm not sitting here, I've got the perfect life. I'm not the perfect person. But you know what? That's okay, you know. I've got my faults. I've got my ups and I've got my downs. I've got my family that loves me and I've got the family that hates me, you know. But all I can do, what I can control, is my actions and my behavior towards everything. That's my point of recovery. I can take it as it comes and work on myself from it, or I can run away from everything and have it my own way, have a blast at everything and trying to manipulate situations towards my gaining. I'll never be able to do that. I can't do that. I can't control anyone. Because once I grab something like this in my own will, it will fall out through the fingers. That's how life is. I need to hand it over to God and God of my understanding. He's the one that helps me. And it's only by His grace and His mercy that I'm sitting here today. Luckily enough, today, okay, so I started going to RAEL after being homeless, and not the most of the easiest of days in the beginning. I ran away after 1 month because I couldn't accept the fact that that they were trying to help change my life. I ran away for luxuries before anyone posts anything on the chat. I had nothing. And that's what happens to me. That's what happens to most addicts, I would say. Everyone latches out to something after the drugs. An alcoholic reaches out to sweets. A tick addict also reaches out to sweets. Basically anything. Anything. And sleep. And I just wanted that. But I was so used to getting my own way, manipulating people. By the time that people didn't want to give me anything that I wanted to throw my toys out of the cot and go my way. And tonight I sit and I'm a very grateful son of a mom that showed me tough love. She had to put in those things. So the mother that I wished Mother's Day yesterday, that I loved so much, that I put years and years and years of tormenting, she always said yes to me. She never said no. I was the youngest. I was the baby boy. She was the one that finally put her down her foot. And that's when my life changed. Because I had no one left anymore. I fucked everyone. I sit here today, honestly, I fucked everyone in my life. If I didn't steal from you, I robbed you. If I didn't rob you, I fucked you over. And I don't blame the people that pushed me to the side. I don't. Because at that point of time, I would have been ashamed. I was ashamed. But it made me who I am today. So, you know, let bygones be bygones. Came to RAEL, and I met Mr. Hall, and I thought to myself, hey, is this what I'm going to be spending the next 6 months with? Not knowing the complete principles of it, not understanding who he is, not understanding what his passion is for. Today I do, obviously, but yet again, what effort and what motivation and what love he puts into this recovery program of ours. You know, he's had the experiential awakening where he conveys this message of, you know, we can recover, we can do anything. And I believe that he helped me, God, make me into one of those messages. I struggled at RAEL in the first few months, and I couldn't handle it. Nothing was working for me. But you know what? Because the fact that I didn't have tough love, I had nowhere else to go. I had no choice but to change. I had no choice. And it's so hectic how I had to put myself through all of that. The homelessness, the sleepless nights, the hunger, the losing of family, the losing of friends. I had to go down to the bottom pit to understand that, listen, what am I doing is not right. What am I doing is not helping anyone and everyone. And I wish I could change it, but yet again, it's okay. This moment of time right now is what I need to do, and it's okay. There's many people's stories that are worse than mine, but yet, I just hope that I can share this to someone tonight and make them realize that, it doesn't matter what we've done in our lives, it doesn't matter how far we've gone down, there is always a choice, and there's always a chance that we can get up. Through God, anything is possible. Hello, Duncan. So, moving forward, time's passed. I started working as a waiter at RAEL. I was about 5 months there. Started to become a sober living, and I started actually learning what was responsibility was allowed. I started paying my own way. I started paying my own way, and this was what I needed to do. I was earning 900 rand a week, where I was only being able, through my budget that I could have, I only had 150 rand for a week. Now 150 rand, I needed to buy my inches, I needed to buy my coffee, I needed to buy this. I needed to start budgeting on what is important and prioritize. And this was a perfect environment for me, because I could have asked anyone, I could have done a lot of things to make that money, but that's what made it so much worthwhile, because I started appreciating the things that happened. And that's what makes it. If I started working for things, the appreciation of it comes with it. I started working as a waiter, and I listened to my meetings. I started doing the right thing, and by the grace of God, I got an apprenticeship at a plumbing company in Worcester, and they offered me to work for them for about 4 years. Started working with them. Next thing, I was there for 7 or 8 months. Things didn't go too well, and I ended up working at the mall in Worcester as one of the maintenance guys. And what a beautiful job it was. I never knew anything about maintenance before I walked into RAEL. And through application and work and just giving it all, learning, having humility. Humility is teachability. Listening to, even though someone doesn't know who they're talking about, being open-minded and being willing to try these things. Remember, I had nothing. I had no choice. I had to turn. Or I was going to burn. As I was continuing doing what I needed to do, sorry, I just want to check, I got half an hour left. As I was continuing how to live, how to be responsible, how to become the productive member of society, paying my own way, listening to going through hardships, relationships with people not understanding where we're coming, having quarrels, having been misunderstood, doing the life things at life's terms. Things happen on that farm that's supposed to happen outside. And it happens for a beautiful reason, for us to teach us. And this is the beautiful thing about recovery. We could always make the fuck up inside that rehab, because it would never have been, it was our trial stage. It was our area. It was their life. And I have to implore RAEL on that. I have to commend them to it, because they still loved us, even though we fucked up. Mr. Hall still loved us for who we are. He saw the potential in us. About a year ago, about a year, 2 months ago, I remember I started doing my dream sport again. After about almost a month at RAEL, Mr. Hall walked up to me and he asked me what did I do in my life, and I told him I was a wrestler. I got my Springbok colours, and I would love to go back to that, but it takes a lot of time and determination. Mr. Hall told me, I said, my boy, if you do your thing and you keep up what you're doing and you stay here and work on yourself, that would be a possibility back in your life again. And I never really understood it, because I never thought like, hey, what's happening? I never knew that after that first month, if you told me 2 years later I would be joining a wrestling cup. 2 years later, I would have regained my Springbok colours. And 2 years later, I would have toured for South Africa to Algeria. That I would have met the most amazing women in my life. That I would have my family back again. That I would become the Richard God wanted me to be. I would have laughed it in your face. I would have never believed you. I would have said you must be on drugs. And to my wildest ambitions and wildest imaginations, things have turned out so beautiful for me. It's so amazing how loving someone and caring for someone, correcting someone for who they are and what they are worth, how it changes to be. And that's the beautiness of RAEL, and that's the beauty of Mr. Hall as well. He puts in that effort for you. Even though you don't like what he says, even though you go home crying or go to your room crying at night, thinking like, how could this be, how could this be? But I can say what I want to. That man, Mr. Hall, even though he's tough love, even though his work and his hardships with me has proven itself why he did it. I sit today a very grateful man. I sit in a flat, moved in with my girlfriend. I've literally just started my first day at work today. I'm very lucky, and I sit with more than what I ever had in my life, ever. And yet again, I still sit with a mental and emotional capacity of note. To answer your question, Lee J, my knee is cool. It just shows you, let me explain quick a thing how God works. After Africa, I injured my right knee, my cross ligament. I guess that's God's, how can I say it? It's God's sense of humor. But yet again, if I look at how it turned out, amazingly, because there was a big thing at that point of time, employment, this and that, and how it turned out to be because if I never injured my leg, my life wouldn't have progressed. I would have still been in wrestling and this, and it's just amazing how it turned out to be, because now I'm sitting here with a new job, starting a new journey in my life, and I let go of the thing. I've let go of all situations. I've came to terms with the fact that I was striving to go to the Olympics, which was supposed to be this year, and when I hurt my leg again, that same feeling of when I was 19 years old, it just hit me again. I didn't know how to handle it, but through people that love me and support me, they made it much easier for us. A problem halved is a problem shared. A problem shared is a problem halved, excuse me. And I came to terms with it, didn't let him allow me to bring me down. Because yet again, what is more important, my sobriety or wrestling? It's something I love, it's my passion that I want, but yet again, my sobriety is much more higher, because yet again, if I put anything above my sobriety, I'm going to lose it. Anything would be my girlfriend, would be my family, would be anything, and that's what I did in my previous years. Last week I got a beautiful phone call from a coach and asking me how's it going with my knee. When you start learning about people, you ask yourself, what is the motive of people phoning you? And I sat and I listened, and the most amazing message came out of it was, that there is still a chance. That the tournament for the Olympic qualifiers have been postponed till next year as well. And by the end of July, I should be practicing full time again. That, to me, is God's grace. That, to me, is showing that, this can be done. And God's way and will always help us out with it. So I'm sitting here grateful, man. The fact that I can do what I need to do, and be the brother, be the son, be the boyfriend, and be a responsible member of society. I need to explain to you guys that, you know, the effort that we need to put in here. Sometimes we don't want to wake up. Sometimes we don't want to put that effort in. But we need to keep the bigger picture in mind. I need to keep the bigger picture in mind. I need to know that, and then even my days are dark and friends are few, if I keep doing the right thing, the beautiful things will happen. I have to plow through it. Just as much as I plow through my active addiction to get that first drug. No cop, no man, no woman, no nothing would ever stop me. That's exactly the motivation and the perseverance and the persistence I needed to get to my extra drug. That's exactly the perseverance I need to attain my goal in life. My life experience of things, I've also had worse things. Family members have died. People have asked me. I've also been called what you can call it. Call me anything, but don't call me a taxi, because you know what, I'm not going anywhere. This is where I want to be, and this is where I aim to be for the rest of my life. I can only share my message. My message is my message, and that's all I can give. But there's no excuses. If we do what we needed to do, we do our program right, and we listen to our elders and the wiser than us, those are the ones that will always sit with us, and we will cherish it forever. Hello Warren, hello Angelique. Great to see you guys are watching me. That's my brother and my sister-in-law. I also had the most beautiful person called a sponsor, which is Mr. Hall. Someone that I shared my most darkest, deepest secrets with. And you know what helped me is that we were cool with it. You know, there were times where I was so ashamed of what I did, but we made it as beautiful as possible. We could sit with anything and laugh and joke about it. There was a moment of shame, but yet, you know, we laugh about it today, and it's okay. You know, I'm not happy with the things that I did in my life, but yet again, it made me who I am today. I also needed to change my behaviors. This was the effort I needed to put in, because my behaviors, my positive thoughts, my thoughts needed to change to positive thoughts, which were leading to positive behaviors, which were leading to positive actions, which were obviously leading to positive reactions. If I kept on plugging away, doing what I needed to do, no matter what, that persistence or patience that was waiting for my drug dealer for 3 hours just to come deliver a gram of coke, if I use 10% of that in my recovery, I will achieve whatever I want to achieve. That's how simple it is. It's a simple program. It ain't easy, but it's simple. We need to use it. That behaviors, we need to change it. I need to change my behaviors. If I don't stay here and do my recovery to a full extent, I might as well just call it quits now. I might as well just walk out the door and go to Ferreira Street. But you know, I've lost that desire for that life. I don't want that life anymore. I've seen how things have changed in my life, how it's supposed to be. What are my rewards? We get the promises in the big books, from financial security, emotional, mental, everything. That is, the rewards are the most. My biggest reward at this point of time is that I've got a relationship with God. My first love, the God of my own understanding, helped me and opened doors and avenues for me, getting me to where I am today, and gradually pushing me. You're not letting things happen, but yet me being able to connect to Him, having an emotional and spiritual connection with Him, strengthens my emotional sobriety, strengthens my spiritual connection. That is what I need in long-term recovery. I need to work on that. Otherwise, the smallest, faintest of things, of spilled milk, can put me off, and I can have resentments for days. But if I don't follow my program, hey, down to the dots to me. I became financially rewarding. I've got an income coming in. I've been able to buy my own entries. I've been able to buy my food, and I'm able to earn my stay in a flat. Physical and mental. My physical physique is back to normal, where I've dropped up to weighing 68 kgs, moving up back to 87 now. I'm a bit overweight due to the lockdown and not being able to be active. And I become the productive member of society again. I've become a man with integrity, a man with reliance, a man with compassion, a man with love. I've become normal, if you can call that. I've become the man that all of us want to be, because we all are searching for a better life. That's all we are searching for when we come back from the deepest, darkest streets of life. And once we see that light, we work. We want to see it. And yet again, the biggest reward is becoming a man. Being able to have a girlfriend, being able to having a chance to start living a life, becoming a husband, becoming a father of children, and the opportunity of starting my own family, which most of you guys know, which was a very far reach at that point of time in my addiction. It's just how can I explain? It's just the amazing point of time of how your wildest imaginations of life can turn out to be. And God has proven that to me. He's changed my whole perspective of life, He's changed my gratitude. He's changed my mental thinking. It's a walking miracle today. And the best thing is, if I can do it, guys, anyone outside there can do it. With the right motivation and the right head mindset and the right help and support, and losing that desire to use, anything is possible. I'm just going to speak about what my what's the part of that I'm struggling with now in life is about balancing the scales. That's all it ever is. That's all it ever is. Life is about balancing, and if you read to us just for today, it's actually beautiful. It's balancing our scales of life. Now I've got work, I've got life, I've got family, I've got play, and I've got spiritually, and then I've got recovery. And for me, it's like sitting with sand, and I'm busy trying to balance all those scales to weigh, because once I put on more, so I can put all my effort into work, but spiritually I'm going to be deficient. I can put all my effort into play, and my recovery is going to be deficient. So I just want to read a small thing quick about it. And it says, a lot of our chief concerns and major difficulties come from an experiencing with living without drugs. Often when we ask an old-timer what to do, Mr. Hall, we are amazed at the simplicity of the answer. I remember I was one day tripping so hard out, I was freaking about something at work and my relationship and this, and I just like fucking laid it all on Mr. Hall. And he replied to me with 3 little simple words. It's called life. And with that, it just made me think again, like, wow, I'm grateful I am. It wasn't the answer I wanted to hear, but yet it helped me in so many ways. We do the same thing in recovery. We sit down with the foundation of our clean time and the 12 steps. Then we attempt to add employment, household responsibilities, friends, sponsees, relationships, meetings, and service in equal weight so that the scales balance. And that's where we are now. This is life beyond the recovery, behind after the center. This is where I am sitting now, and I'm sharing this because I'm sharing this for myself. Our first try may throw our personal scales out of kilter. We may find that because of our over-involvement in service, we may upset our employer or our family. But when we try to correct this problem by resigning them from NS service altogether, the other side of the scales go out of balance. We can go to from help from members who have stabilized their scales, which is obviously the members, my sponsors, my friends in recovery, the sober livings in RAEL. These are people who are easy to recognize. They appear serene, composed, and self-assured. They smile in recognition at our dilemma and share how they slowed down, added only a few grams at a time to either side of the scales, and were rewarded with balance in recovery. Just for today, I seek balance in my life. Today I will ask others to share their experience in finding that balance. Now I hope I can tell you guys that you know that it's okay when life is not going good. Well, not good. Let's say things aren't going our way. It's okay when it feels something's not gelling like it. Because I have to remember where I come from. We have to remember where we come from. We have to remember the life before drugs, after drugs. And we have to remember the life during our active addiction. Only then gratefulness will ever fall apart with us. Only then, that's the biggest word in recovery for me, is gratitude. How grateful I am for what I have. Because that is the most amazing thing of it. If I'm going to start being ungrateful, I have to remember, hey Richie, you sat with only 3 pairs of clothes and nothing. Not a SIM card and maybe a packet of 5 pop chips. That's how far I went down. And today I sit with it, and I'm not sitting here as a saint. I'm not sitting here as someone that has got this kicked off. I'm sharing this because this is what's internally happening for me. I'm trying to balance everything from my personal life to my relationships to work, to recovery, to spirituality. And it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. But if I speak to you guys about it, if I share it to it, then I know someone else must be there. Because I'm not the first person to go through all of this. And this is what the beauty of this program is. I could reach out to anyone here and speak about it, and there would come words of encouragement. If I used to phone people back then, they would only want the benefit or wanting to know what else I can do for them for the benefit. And that's I think is the secret of life, is balancing those scales, knowing what prioritizing, and knowing what is more important than anything. I just have to relate to what is going on now in life at this point of time during this lockdown. It's not been the easiest. Moving into a new environment, moving into a new thing where you are reliant on man for work, for instance, and lockdown happens. It throws you completely offside. I had an easy choice of going back to where I come from, man. But you know what? I've got too many people reliant on me. I share a message of hope, and I want to prove it. I've got a goal in mind, and I want to achieve that goal. The lockdown going down now, we can use many excuses for a lockdown. We can use excuse to go back to drugs. I could start dealing illegal cigarettes, but you know what? It's not going to. It's only going to puncture me spiritually. It's going to puncture me completely off guard. I'm not going to be the same Richard. It's going to leave that hole in the soul that we always have, trying to fill it with drugs, girls, alcohol, obsessions, compulsions. It's always going to happen. You know, today I sit and I've got freedom. I've got freedom today where I'm able to come home after work and sit on a couch and watch TV. No, I'm joking. I've got so much freedom today where I've got freedom of choice, man. I've got freedom of love. I've got freedom of deciding what is best for me and deciding what is the love, what is best for my little family that I'm going to start growing. Thank you, Mr. Hall. It's all about the kroon. You're right. And hi, Charlene. Love you too. It's great to see you again. And thank you for joining. The freedom is all we wanted, but I never could understand that I needed to work towards freedom. I needed to do the yard, miles and stones and moving the hardships of life to gain that freedom. For me, for freedom, to gain freedom is more responsibility. The more responsibility I have, the more freedom I will have. Because then I can work with it. It's actually a catch-22, because more responsibility seems like more work. So how can you be more free with more work? But that's just how it is. It's the mindset. That's just the way I move it with it. I've been doing my hard yards. I've been doing my meetings. Thank God for online Zoom meetings and the live share platform that we've got on Facebook and social media. That yet, I can listen to other people's experiences and I can share my own. Some people don't like the truth, I can tell you that, but yet and I've got the passion for life again. I'm not sitting here, I drive myself every day because that's impossible, I'll go mad. But yet that passion still lives inside me. Yet it still burns. It burns like the Olympic flame of the Olympics. I'm waiting for that. And I will walk down there one day by the grace of God. And what I can relate to the most is the life and family. It's all we ever wanted. That's my dream. It's having the nice house with a car outside, white picket fence, with a Labrador running outside. That's the image that person would love, and I hope to everyone as well. But I cannot say thank you enough to RAEL for changing my life, for giving me the opportunity for life. Can't say thank you enough to God for being who I am and helping me and always being there. Thank you that I could come back to you again, and especially for RAEL as well. I could come back to after the second time, a day after I ran away. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Hall as well. You've helped so many people. You've inspired so many people. You have given so many people life and love. And you've taught us the ways of the world. And you've taught us to stand up for ourselves, because the people don't think the best of us. But we move forward. We keep doing the right thing and our mindset moves forward. We will never fail. And as long as we have each other and live with each other, nothing will ever break that bond, especially with God as well. So my special thanks are to everyone, to Mr. Hall, to Shula, to everyone else at RAEL, and everyone else that was being there at RAEL. How's it, Adrian? Lucky to hear you again, bro. Hope you're well. And to live a beautiful, clean life. A life that only one can dream of. And I sit here tonight and I hope people can see this dream. We are the dream, and we are the love, and we are the light of this world. And I'm so grateful I've got a program of recovery to work, because I don't want to be the boer that boors his wife after 10 bottles of brandies, digging his skeletons out of his closet anymore. Because you know what? I'm free, man. I am free. Thanks, by the grace of God. And I can live life open-minded, willing, and loving. I also want a special thanks to my mom and them, my family that stood by me, that helped me grow. Even though through in my dark times and fuck-ups, they were still there. They were still there with me, trying to help me. And as well to my beautiful girlfriend that's sitting next to me listening to this. She helped me as well, been through me with the wrestling, saw me on my downest days, but picked me up. And that's what a relationship for. Only God has helped me. Through Him, I've met my beautiful girlfriend. And tonight, we sit here beautifully, well-fed, in a beautiful place, loving life and experiencing the joys of life together. And to everyone else outside there listening to my message tonight, to everyone else that needs a little bit of hope, and I just hope I could be that pillar. I need that pillars in my life, just as much as I need you guys. Well, you guys need my message. I need your guys' support, because all of us together we can do this. I can't, but we can. That's just the beauty of this program. And I just want to read a small thing from the step working guide. It's not too long, it's only a small paragraph. And it's practicing my principles in all our affairs. My spiritual principles of honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. With these, we are well on our way. Just want to see. Got 2 minutes left. And it says, when we talk about practicing the principles of recovery in all our affairs, the key word is practice. We just need to keep trying to apply spiritual principles to our lives. Not be able to do it perfectly in every situation. The spiritual benefits we derive from working the steps depend on our effort, not our success. Again, effort. For instance, we try to practice the principle of compassion in every situation in our lives. It's probably relatively easy to practice the principle of compassion with a still using addict who has just walked into their first meeting, no matter how belligerent or needy that newcomer is. But what about someone who has just returned from a relapse or a multiple relapser? What if he walks in blaming the program for his relapse? What if she casually walks back into the rooms projecting an attitude that seems to take recovery for granted? What if it's someone responsive? We may find that practicing the principle of compassion doesn't come as easily as it used to. We don't feel compassionate toward the person, but we can still practice the principle of compassion. All we have to do is continue to carry the message without conditions. Our sponsor can help us learn how to be compassionate without giving the impression that we think relapsing is okay. We can pray and meditate, asking our higher power to help us be compassionate. That's all that it is. I have to do my principles in all my affairs. I have to practice it. That's the word. I have to practice. I'm not going to do it 100%, but that's okay. That's what life is about. It's exactly like Duncan said. It's all about the progress. It's not the perfection. At least I'm moving forward one step at a time, even if I think I'm sitting still. I'm required to do my routine every morning and listen to recovery. And I can't explain the amazing feeling it is of having recovery at my side. So, I hope I've helped people. I hope someone could have get this message tonight. And I love you all for everything that you guys have done for me. To RAEL, to Kurt, to Mr. Hall. Keep doing what you're doing, please. There's a lot of people that need help. And you guys if you could have helped me, you could have helped anyone. In other words, I was fucked when I walked in. But today, I'm the man who I always wanted to be. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for being part of my life. And thank you for letting me be the Richard that I always wanted to be. And thank you for everyone that has listened to this message tonight. And I hope it could have inspired people tonight. So, yeah. I hope you guys have a lovely night further. Or wherever you are in the world. Have a beautiful night. And and let God take the wheel. We can't be the rulers of our own universe anymore. If we let God take the wheel, we will have a beautiful life. So I'm gonna close my eyes now and I'm gonna say the serenity prayer. Oh, by the way, in a week's time I'll be 2 years, 10 months sober, and it's only by the grace of God. I'm still a newcomer. I still need to learn a lot, and I'm open to anything. So if anyone needs something of help, please don't be scared to message me. I can only help by giving away what I have. So I'm going to close my eyes and say the serenity prayer for the still suffering outside these walls, still the suffering addict that has no place to stay, that is involved in this lockdown with the coronavirus and that is got nowhere else. And I just ask God to help him, please. Make a way to find him. And I'm going to say the serenity prayer now. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Peace. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening, and thank you for letting me share my message towards you. I needed this tonight, and only growth and love and strength from further on. I hope you have a lovely night further, and always look to God. Thank you, Lee J. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Thank you, Kurt. Speak to you guys again. Alright, bye.